Hello all you crafty people. So I have pretty much done all of the signatures are pretty much done. It's one more walkthrough with little tidbits to be finished up. But anyway, I wanted to go ahead and bring you through the process of how I figure out what the cover should look like, size-wise, and that kind of thing. So when I do my journals, I like for it to still be a book and not like a gator's mouth. So I like to get this side where it's nice and comfortable, not too thick, not too thin, and not squeeze this side closed, because there's the start of your gator mouth, okay? So I want to kind of hold it in the center where everything's going to be kind of nice. And you see on here I can look, I've got my grid lines. That's 2 inches. So I think if I do a 2.5 inch spine, which is kind of large, but that's okay. If I do a 2.5 inch spine, I will have a 1/4 inch on this side and a 1/4 inch on this side. Do I need that much? Really, probably not. So I might just see if I squeeze that in. Let me turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. If I squeeze that in just a little bit like that and have those, I can do a 2 inch spine, and I think that's what I'm going to do. A 2 inch spine, and then these guys are going to be every 1/2 inch. With a little bit over a 1/2 inch on each one of them. So maybe just 2 1/8, 2 1/4. I think, you know, just a little bit wider. But anyway, now our pages are 8 1/4. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 1/4. And then we've got here from the very edge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. So there's 5.5 that way. So let's see. I have pages are 8 1/4 by 5.5. So this is the tall, this is the side. So for my cover, I like to add, let's see, height-wise, I like to add 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch. It all depends on how much you want. You know, obviously a 1/2 inch, you're going to have a whole 1/4 inch on the top and the bottom. So I think I'm going to add 3/8 of an inch to that side. Now the 5.5, you want to just, how much are you going to have beyond that? So I'm going to do smaller than a 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to add a 1/4 of an inch, which is, of course, 5 3/4. And let me just look here. 8 1/4, and then 1, 2, 3. That's 5/8. So 8 5/8 by 5 3/4. But this is going to be more like, it's going to get in the 1/16, because I'm going to want to have it between the 5/8 and the 3/4. So, you know, you'll figure it out. Just have fun with it, you know. So I am going to go ahead and I am going to cut this. Let me get my, this, I pretty much only use this for chipboard, but it is self-sharpening, so I think these ones are. Maybe they're not. No, I think these are not self-sharpening. But what did I say? 8 5/8. This one is not the easiest to read. So there is 8 5/8. And I just sitting down below my that I can't get a good push on it. And then I've got a rolling chair, so I put pressure and I roll backwards. It just, oh my gosh. Okay, and then I should be able to get both 5 1/2s out of this, because I think this is 12. No, it's not. It's 10 1/2. Of course. If it was 11, I'd be able to do it. That's okay. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll get the spine out of the one. Okay, so, and then this is 5 1/2. So that is right there. Okay, so there's my one page, and then we can always try it out and see how we're doing with it. So I've got nice space. I am right on my edge because I did 5 1/2 instead of 5 3/4. That's okay. That's okay. Because when I sew these, they will reduce just a little bit, and it's just all going to be right there, which is just fine. It's totally fine. Totally fine. And I'm going to have, you know, some paper space too. So these will be fine. All right. So, and then I'm going to have what I say, 2 and a little bit. So I'm going to cut off my holes. I don't want 2 1/4, so I'm going to kind of go to 2 and almost 2 3/8. That's it, just almost, not quite. I look like I'm working very hard, don't I? Ah, not yet. I got one foot on the ground keeping me from rolling backwards. Okay, so I'm going to put spine on here, just so I don't miss, I'm just wondering if I have a couple pieces somewhere that would, so I don't cut a hole, but I don't think I do. I think I've gone through all my pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one at the 5 1/2. So that will leave me either way, it's going to leave me the same amount. It's just this one's going to be longer. So, okay. Ha! Very good. All these little extras here. And then I need this one, 8. Oh, I need the back side of that one. Where'd it go? Here we go. I need 8 5/8. Okay. Well, I hope everybody's been having a good January. I have been just busy. It just seems like I have been so busy, even though I'm like, and I'm getting stuff done, but it's yeah, it's just, it's not slowing down, which is good. It's very good. But yeah, it's, you know, trying to get everything in a good place. That's, and you know, personal stuff as well as craft stuff and shop stuff, and Phew, yeah, it's fine though. Everything's good. Anybody that wants to come over and help, you're more than welcome. Okay, so let's see what we got here now. I believe these were going to be my outside pages. And I just love this dragonfly. He is just gorgeous. So that is probably going to be my front, is this right here. And then I'm going to wrap it around with, oh, what do I want? That. See, that's upside down because I would hate to cut this off. I don't particularly want this with this, but if I match these up, and the, obviously 112 by 12 is not going to cut it, but if I cut down the center here or where it needs to be, I could then do just the spine, have a front and back cover, and then possibly use the other piece for the spine. Let's see. Is it going to be enough? I might get it out of one piece of paper, but I kind of doubt it. Because it doesn't leave much to wrap around. I could do it. And then what do I have here? I could totally work the spine, I believe. No, it's just going to be way too tight. I don't like being that tight. I will come over here and I will get a 1/2 inch all the way around and be happy with that for my front cover. So, I'm going to flip this over and work. This is the side where the bug is. And I'm just going to eyeball my 1/2 inch, basically. All right? And I'm going to go ahead and use my glue. And that's one time I really enjoy, using this glue bottle, because you can get, splattered right out there. You can get so much more out than you can with those tips. Okay, don't need that on there. We'll put it on there. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to flip this over. I'm going to eyeball about a 1/2 inch. See, I could, 1/2 inch. There we go. Now I'm going to flip this over and I am going to burnish. So, my son comes over today and he said, "Do you guys need anything today?" Now, he had tweaked his back, so he's been kind of on the mend for a little while, but he's getting there. It wasn't anything permanent or anything. He just kind of fell at work. The cart that he has to work with had a mind of its own. And he wasn't willing to listen to it, or couldn't. So, all right. So now I could continue with my spine and leave a nice 1/4 inch, just right about there. Leave a nice 1/4 inch and then put the back piece a nice 1/4 of an inch away, and then finish off with the other sheet. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because it's a beautiful paper. And so yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And it's a lot easier that way too. You're not having to try and piece it all together. So yes, we are going to do that. And using glue at this stage is fine because everything's going to be wrapped. Just wrapped up tight. So, you know, you don't have to. Now, if you want to make this easy for yourself, you can put 2 together and do it that way, or you can just eyeball it. Some people have been known to take like their ruler and make a mark. And I'm making it just to the side of the 1/4 inch, so that when I put it on, I'm going to cover up my mark. And as soon as I cover up my mark, I am a 1/4 inch away. Does that make sense? Okay. Right there, and right there. And there we go. I'm going to flip this over and go ahead and burnish. Spread that glue around. Just be careful that you don't, you know, rip the paper or something. This is a fairly good quality paper, Stamperia. So, you know, that's a nice paper, but sometimes especially if you're working with like the scrapbook paper, nothing wrong with working with the scrapbook paper. I'm just saying that you definitely would want to take a little bit of care doing that. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach these 2 together before I go any further. And I'm just going to take my little 1/4 inch score tape and run it right along the edge. And remember, don't stretch your score tape. I've seen so many people stretching their score tape, and then, you know, their page is all standing up and stuff, and it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Sorry, I'm seeing like I'm a little quiet tonight. I feel fine. Maybe I'm a little tired. I don't know. It's, like I said, it's been a whirlwind. I really have not stopped since before Christmas. And I got some doctor's appointments coming up, and I can't understand what they're trying to tell me that I need to do and when I'm supposed to be there, so now I have to call, which is a pain in the tushy because I don't have good phone service. So I have to get up and go into town. I know that sounds wah, right? I can't help it. I just... Okay, so I'm going to use this side. I'm going to just line it up, laying it down along the same, which should just lay it right over all of my tape. And it did. And now I have a 1/4 inch and my paper is straight. And then I'll just cut off what I don't use, and I'll have that for, I can make a few more tags, because I think I would like to see a few more tags in here. A few more. Not many, but yeah. Okay. And this 1/4 of an inch that I'm leaving in here is also going to extend out my edges, since I did cut these a little short on the wide side. Okay, and let's do the same that I did. I'm going to put this on a 1/4 inch. Put it up here. And then I'm going to put my line to the right of the 1/4 inch line. So then I know where to stop. But like I said, you can eyeball it as well. Just whatever floats your boat. Okay, so line it up. There, there, and there. Need to go up. Yeah, up just a little bit. There we go. And you also always want to make sure that where you connect your papers, if you had to connect your papers, that it's not anywhere near folding lines or right at the edge of the book where you're going to be pulling against it to fold paper over your chipboard. So those are all things that you have to remember. It's not hard. It's not hard. Okay. Alrighty then. I did just get all of my mail pulled out, taken care of. I had things that I needed to send to my brother, to my daughter, to crafty friends, things like that. And I just like couldn't get to it. So I got all that done. I said, honey, I am ready for the post office tomorrow. And he goes, Martin Luther King Jr. birthday. There's no open post offices. I went, oh, okay. One more day won't hurt. But I was all excited that I had those done. It was like, yes, 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 yes. So either way, they're still done. So I'm a happy camper. And I think I'm just going to eyeball and leave myself a good 1/2 inch. Gonna go ahead and cut this off. So I have that for tags or whatnots. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. If I go over a 1/2 inch, that's better than going under the 1/2 inch. So, just so you know. All right. And there's a nice strip for something. I am coming up with some ideas of using some scraps because I have had quite a few scraps. So, all right, let's go ahead and start the bending process. Just so I have the papers somewhat stretched around a little bit, get them started. And then this here, okay. Where am I at? 21. Now I need to cut my corners. You want to leave a good 1/8 inch on there so that you can cover your corner. And I glue what I cover. I glue it down. To me, that's the only way you're going to make sure that it stays there. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the long side. And I always like to put glue right at the edge of the chipboard. And for time's sake, I think I'll go ahead and put down some score tape, burnish, take off, And let's just add a little bit of glue. Okay, and we're just going to, first I pull through my center and I pull that down. Then I want to give this a push. And that's kind of pulling the rest of the paper around. And then pull that. And then give this a push again over here. And then pull the rest of the paper around. Okay, so I get a little indent. Don't push too hard where you're going to rip it. But there is that. Let me just give it a good burnish. Spread that glue around. And then go ahead and give yourself a nice edge while the glue is still damp. Okay? We're going to do the same thing. And then we will glue the sides down. Go ahead and just so this stuff pretty much has not changed in a while. I think I've been doing them this way for quite some time. I end up having very nice looking books. Okay, once I get that kind of where I want it, I'm just going to flip this down, burnish, give me this again, and flip this down, burnish. And then again, gently rake that across and give yourself a nice flat edge. Okay, now for your corners, you want to put a little bit of glue in those corners. And then you're going to bring them around, flatten it down, and really get that glue pushed down into those corners. This is what's going to help maintain that paper stays over there and does its job. Then you want to put glue on top of that all the way across. Okay, burnish. Woo, moved it. Let's get this up. I'm going to add a little, whoops, noisy. Add a little glue where the tape isn't. And let's make sure that you're getting those corners really worked, and then pull it around. I have very nice corners. Very nice corners. Yeah. Okay, again, a little bit of glue in that corner, just a little dot. If you don't leave enough, it makes it harder. Like this one, I barely left enough. I'd rather leave a little bit too much and have to cut it away. Yeah, both sides of this, I barely left enough to go around the edges. And if you can't go around the edge, how are you actually, you know, how are you actually covering that corner? Okay. So, and then what you did get over, you're going to put glue on top of that. And I'm just doing this for speed. You don't need to have double-sided tape. It's just, since I'm videoing, I don't want to sit here and hold it. I want to move on to the next. I want to move on to the next thing so that we get as much done in our little video here as possible. Plus, the gal is coming over tomorrow, so I kind of want to get this all finished. I do. Okay. Let's rub on that. There we go. Those are not as neat because I did not leave enough, but it's still pretty good. Okay, and then this should go pretty easily if you need a little bit of help, but that should, and you know, you don't have to go much further than that, and that's great. Okay, so there's our book. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. Yeah, that's really nice. And I think that she would like a closure, so I think I'm going to do that as well. And I'm going to get out all my stuff for sewing in my signatures. And yeah, so we're at 30 minutes. So I will try and make this all on one video. So I'll be back. Okay, so I decided I wanted to try and just use one piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and cut this the width I want. And then I'm going to put the bottom half of it and just cut it the same size. Come on. Well, that moved. There. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it in half. Just going to take off the little bitty edge. So now I have two pieces that are going to be past my spine area, not by a ton, but they are going to be past my spine area. I'm just going to pull that back a little bit and show some of that front paper. I think that'll be pretty, and that'll give me a little bit more space in here. So first, let's go ahead and get this the same size as the spine, which was, oh well, it was 2 and something. I just kind of pull it off the top of my head. So let me go ahead and get this cut. Okay, so this will be the spine piece, and that looks great. So that will cover up all of the workings. But first, I am going to let me get a straight line on here. I am going to put right on the edge. Oh, too long. And you don't want to go all the way down to the end of the book because you're not going to have any paper really covering the very end. And we're just going to cover this all up. I don't know why I'm having a problem. From stem to stern. And if you have larger tape, by all means, I do have larger tape, but I'm actually going to just utilize what I need for the first step, and then the second step I will just use glue. So I'll show you that in just a second. We're just going to cover this up. And then on this one, I want it to be on the very edge. So if I have a little space in the middle without coverage, I will just put a little bit of glue. Because that's not going to make, oop, rip my paper a little bit. That's not going to make that much of a difference. So let's go ahead. I had one piece of paper left on something that I wanted to do, and I did this a long time ago, and I just thought, yes, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to take off on the front side here the first two, because I think that's about how far this paper is going to go. Line it up. There's no glue or anything on it, and let it drop lightly until you're satisfied. And then burnish it down. There we go. So now that's burnished on the spine part, and I'm going to take and just cover up the rest of that glue that's, because I don't want to keep putting my fingers on it or anything. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this back, and I am going to put some glue in the gusset. Can you see the glue in there? I think you can. I think you can. And I am going to, I did get a little bit too far out here. I am going to start pushing this down into the glue. And it won't stick automatically. You can let the glue kind of get tacky if you want. It will take it a minute. But I have it in the gusset and I have it up on the papers. So in the gusset it will go down further than it will up on this paper that I've got across here, because that did not go all the way down in. I should have done that, but I didn't. And so you have to be careful, because the glue is making it softer, easier to tear. And so you're just going to push against the spine edge, and then you're going to push against the cover edge, whether it's the back or the front. This happens to be the front. And then you're just going to kind of keep playing with that until you figure that the glue is dry, or dry enough to move on. So I can actually go ahead and leave that and start on this other side. There's that. And I'll go ahead and take this one off. And I'm going to make sure I'm straight and that I have top and bottom matching. Alright, and burnish it down. Grab one of these, put it back on the glue. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing this side. We're going to squeeze some glue on the sides here, and then go down inside the gusset. and kind of spread some glue in there. There we go. I think it just makes it look so much nicer than having, you know, it just kind of partially indented, or, you know, just kind of, I don't know. I just like doing that this way. It is a little more time consuming, but that's okay too, because when I'm crafting, I'm not in a hurry. Even though I'd like to get this done for tonight, I'm enjoying every part of it. And I think sometimes my videos go on a little bit too long because I don't get in a hurry. I just enjoy the whole process. The whole process. Okay, so I know I worked this one much more than I worked this one, but I am wanting to make this not quite so long a video. Okay. So now I'm going to lift this up carefully. I don't want to pull it out. And I'm going to glue on my paper all my edges. Including right at the chipboard edge, which I usually put tape there, but I didn't this time. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to make sure I'm pushing that back down in there. That tape came off. And then I'm just going to lay it down. I don't want to squish nothing out, and I'm not going to open this up till I know it is dry. That's something that you learn the hard way. If you don't let it dry completely, it will bubble on you, and then there's not really a whole lot you can do to fix those bubbles except cut and get the air out, re-glue. Yeah. Next time I get a bubble, I will do a little special thing on how I fix when I get bubbles. But I haven't had a bubble in so long. And yes, I am bragging. Oh, I can chew gum and walk at the same time, too. Well, actually, I can't chew gum because I'm allergic to some of the stuff that they put in gum. So, yeah, there you go. Okay, again, I'm just going to kind of touch on the edges, and then we're going to lay this paper down. Kind of from the center out, but I'm not pushing hard because I don't want to push all the glue out. I want to keep the glue, but I do want to get it to the edges. But if you do this and the glue is still really wet, and not tacky and, you know, grabbing something, you're just going to push a good bit of it out your side or bottom. Now where you have the paper back here where we've put the two pieces together, where you have that, just make sure that you're getting it, you know, down well enough. Okay, so now I'm not going to open this. I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of these off. There we go. Voila. And I'm going to put glue on basically just the edges. I know I did it there, but yeah, really just want the edges because every place else I'll have sticky glue. And then we're just going to line this up with both pages. It's made the same, so you should end up with it working for us. And there we go. Push that glue around. Okay, there we go. All right, looks and feels wonderful. Yeah, okay, now we're gonna let that dry a bit, and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to put these on here to sew them, and I'm going to poke the holes, and then I'm going to come back to you and explain what I did. Okay?